I've compiled this list of 83 free VST plugins that you can grab right now, and I'm going to do something different in this video where I group them together. So things like compressors, EQs, drums, that sort of thing. And all of these free VSTs are excellent, but stick around to near the end where I'll give you my 10 absolute must-haves from this list. Now let's jump in and we'll start with real-world instruments that aren't synths or drums. So I have a few free pianos on this list. There's Monster Piano from Monster DAW, Piano Room V3, and Rusty Piano, both from Sample Science. Now let's check out a couple of bass guitar plugins and an acoustic guitar plugin. So there's the Forefront Bass plugin, there's Ample Bass P-Lite 2, and for the acoustic guitar, there's Ample Sounds M-Lite Guitar 2. Next, let's look at a free plugin that can actually be several real-world instruments, and they continue to add more and more to this. This is Spitfire Audio Labs. These are all incredible real-world instruments that can be great for cinematic music or whatever you want. And now a couple more keys instruments that aren't synths. There's Cassette Rhodes from Sample Science, which is an E-piano as recorded through a cassette tape. And then there's the Hanon B70 organ from Lost in 70s. And now here's a free saxophone instrument. This is Sax Sophia from Fan An Team. And if you want an entire orchestra at your fingertips, there's the BBC Orchestra from Spitfire Audio. And to get this one for free, you just need to register it and then wait 14 days for them to send you the link to the free plugin. Or if you need it right away, you can pay $49 and you'll get it right away. Now let's check out some free compressors. There's the TDR Molotov, which is a very nice compressor that can be used across your entire mix, and it also adds a little bit of color to your tracks too. Then there's the Buster SE from Analog Obsession, and this one's based on the classic SSL console compressor, and it works excellent on your drum bus or even your mix bus. Another free compressor from Analog Obsession, this one is Colin. This one's based on vintage limiting amplifiers from the 50s, and it adds some nice character to your tracks as well. This next one is D16 Group's Frontier. You can use this one subtly and it can be transparent, or get aggressive with it and Frontier will add its character to whatever track you have it on. Next is the MJUC Junior compressor from Klanghelm, and this is a classic Veramuse style compressor. It's very easy to use. And finally, we have the TLS 1295 LEA compressor, and this is an excellent free LA2A style opto compressor. Alright, so we still have free synths, drums, EQs, reverbs, and all that stuff on the way, but right now let's check out some free guitar effects plugins. First up is Amplitude Custom Shop. This is a very big plugin that comes with a few different amps that you can switch between, plus a bunch of gear that you can use and switch out, and you have access to the shop if you want to add even more. This next one is an excellent metal amp, but it can also do some decent cleans as well. It's Ignite's Emissary, and also to note with this one is the Nadir plugin that comes with it for free, and it's a great cabinet sim plugin. Now here's an excellent one for bass players. This is actually my favorite bass amp plugin, free or not. I use this one all the time and I love it. You get a classic tube bass amp with 2 channels, saturation, and an effects section. Here's one from ML Sound. This is Amped Roots, which is based on an amp from Fluff. He's an excellent guitar content creator on YouTube, and this is a cool free amp for heavier styles. And another ML Sound amp based on a YouTube content creator's design is the Stevie T amp. Now this next free VST is a classic, but I still love it. It's Vox & Go's Boogx. There's no fancy guitar amp looking user interface. It's just an easy to dial in, great sounding amp. Now this next one isn't included in the 83 best free VST plugins, but I thought I would add it as a bonus. It's ToneLib GFX. Technically this one's not free, but you can use the trial of it unlocked for as long as you like. But if you do like it and you continue to use it a lot, then show them your support and pay for a license. Now let's take a look at some free drum plugins, starting with MT Power Drum Kit. This one gives you an excellent drum sound right away, along with drum grooves that you can actually use to easily build the foundation of your song. The next free drum plugin is Monster Drums. This is a pretty cool drum plugin that allows you to download several more kits that provide a huge range of different drum sounds. Now here's a free drum plugin that I really like for lo-fi sounds. It's called Afro Drums. It's pretty easy to use and it has 10 presets in there, so you can find some pretty cool sounds. Now here's another great free lo-fi plugin that I use all the time. This one is called BPB Cassette. And you actually get 3 plugins with this one. You get an 808, a 606, and a 909. And they've all been recorded to a cassette. Next is another more realistic drum kit, and this one has a virtual drummer feature to it. It's Razun Jam Sticks. And another excellent acoustic drum kit is SSD Free from Steven Slate. It's a very versatile kit that can be great for rock, metal, pop, or whatever you want to throw at it. Now let's check out some free reverb plugins. We'll start with Baby Audio's Magic Dice. This one packs all the sounds of their big spaced out plugin, and they put it into this very easy small format user interface. Next up is a strange little spring reverb. This one's VRev 666 from Fuse Audio Labs. Now here's one that you absolutely must grab. It's Valhalla Supermassive. And this one's kind of a delay and reverb all in one, and maybe the only reverb plugin that you'll ever need. This next reverb can add some analog character to your reverb sound. This is Giant Reverb. The next one is Space Light from Somatics. It features 3 different reverb types and it sounds great. Next up is Convology XT. This is a convolution style reverb that features 70 impulse responses from vintage gear to deliver the sounds of that vintage gear. This next one is Oral River. It's an algorithmic reverb that simulates the reverberation of a small room and a great hall. Next, let's check out some free modulation plugins, starting with another Baby Audio one. This is Magic Switch. It's based on the chorus effect found on classic Juno synthesizers. This next one could be placed in a number of different categories as it's a multi-effects plugin. This is UJam's Finisher Micro. The next free plugin is Valhalla Space Modulator. It's a flanging and doubling plugin that's capable of providing so many different modulation sounds to your tracks. Now let's check out some free EQ plugins. There's the Warmy EP1A Tube EQ. It's based on Pultec style EQs, and this one can be excellent all over your mix, including your mix bus. Next is the Nova EQ. It's a parametric EQ that can also be used as a dynamic EQ, and this one can be excellent for surgical type of work that you might need. You can use it all over your mix. Another one from the same company is the TDR Slick EQ, and this is a nice clean EQ with 3 bands, and it has 4 different EQ modes: American, British, Soviet, and German. This next one is a favorite of mine on my guitars. This is Analog Obsession Merica. It's based on the SSL 550A plugin, and in addition to guitars, you can use this on vocals, drums, or whatever. It's very easy to dial in. Another excellent free Pultec style EQ is the Ignite PT EQ. And this free EQ is called Coffee the Pun. It's designed to give you the authentic analog sounds of germanium Class A transistors. Now let's check out some free saturation plugins, starting with iZotope's Vinyl. This one can add some vintage vinyl sounds to your tracks. Then there's the Szechuan Saturation, and this one also has a modulation section that makes it a very cool effect. And here's a couple of free tape saturation plugins. There's Calum Audio's Cassette Tape and Chowdery DSP's Chow Tape. And some more free VST plugins that are excellent are the GSAT Plus, Kit Barrier, Saturation Knob, Somatics Origins, IVGI Saturation, and BPB Saturator. Now let's check out a few free delay plugins. There's Baby Audio's Baby Comeback, there's the GSI Verispeed Tape Delay, and Valhalla's Freak Echo. Now, before we get into the free VST synth category, I just want to take a look at this other category that I created that has some filters, utility plugins, channel strips, and more, including the free iZotope Imager plugin. It's very easy to control, and you can use this to widen your sound on individual tracks or on your entire mix. There's the W1 limiter, which is a clone of the Waves L1 limiter. There's the TDSer, which is an excellent de-esser plugin, free or not. Then there's the Influx plugin from FKFX, and this is a sequenced resonant distortion plugin. It allows you to create new grooves from the source audio that you put through it. Next, check out the free ePlex 7 analog filter and distortion plugin, and then there's C-Voice 1 from SNFK, which is a simple pitch modulation plugin. A cool channel strip is the Acoustica Eminence plugin, and then there's the Analog Obsession Loaded, and this is kind of like a virtual 500 series rack with 6 slots that create a nice channel strip. And then you have the FKFX Obvious filter, and this turns any input sound into a rhythmical sequence. And another Analog Obsession plugin to put in this other category is Cabin, and this is a great speaker cabinet emulation. It works great on guitars. Now let's get into the free synth plugins, starting with 3 very popular ones. There's Vital, Surge, and Synth 1. Contact Player is another excellent free one. It's part of the Native Instruments Complete Start bundle, and this gives you a bunch of different instruments. If you want an excellent free modular synth, check out Cherry Audio's Voltage Nucleus. Also be sure to check out their free Surrealistic MG1 synth as well. A few more free synths to check out. There's Pendulate, Dext, and Symptom PE. Now, if you've heard of the very popular Zebra synth, you can get a smaller version from the same company that makes Zebra, and it's called Zebra-Let. It gives you one of the oscillators from Zebra. Also, be sure to check out some of their other free synths, like the Tyrell N6. It's one of their best. A couple more free big synth plugins are the Syntronic from IK Multimedia and also Synth Master Player Free. Then there's the excellent Nils K1V and the VK1 Viking synth. Alright, now let's look at my top 10 free plugins from this list. And these are the ones that I would download first if you're not going to download all of them. There's Valhalla Supermassive Reverb, the Warmy EP1A EQ, Amplitude Custom Shop, Lost in 70s Bass Deluxe, Techovation TDSer, the Contact Player with the free complete start package, Tyrell N6, TDR Molotov Compressor, Analog Obsession Merica EQ, and MT Power Drum Kit. But there are so many more great free VST plugins that you can check out. Those are just my top 10 picks. Now check out some of the best free music making software by clicking the video on the screen. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. For Audio Tech TV, I'm Zane. Keep creating, and we'll talk soon.